So if we must supersede their makeup as predators, what what can we do? We did evolve to become the top predator on the planet, and for tens of thousands of years, or perhaps hundreds of thousands of years. You hear that sound? Why would anybody work under those conditions? No air protection, that amount of noise next to this sacred river. So we did evolve to become the top predator in the world, and we fulfilled that role for hundreds of thousands of years, and it was fine. It was a very necessary role. We were a sparse population around the planet without technology, and we were basically cooling other species, plant and animal. With very primitive tools, we took down old animals and sick animals, and harvested the seeds and nuts and fruits, and it was all balanced, and it was a duty that we fulfill, and at some level, at a very deep level, we were fine and in balance. We also predated on each other. We knock ourselves on the head quite often. But then we created civilizations, cities, written languages, agriculture, and all the caveats of civilization. But we never truly became civilized. We continue to operate in this predatory manner with that predatory makeup. So what are the alternatives? Well, obviously, if we're talking about predating, that's destroying, and the obvious counterpart to destroying is creating. So we are at some level the top creator on the planet, are we? Well, we do create some good things, but how about stressing that role, to be in the role of being the top creator in the planet, and doing more in that regard, creating more and more, and also co-creating. It's not just the genius thing of somebody creating something, and it's also creating collectively, and not only among people, but collectively with other beings. Because we're talking about creation, and creation is not only the artist. You don't have to paint a Starry Night to be a creator. Yes, arts are a supreme form of creation, but there are also crafts, and beyond that, our basic needs being shelter and food. We can be created in those functions. We can co-create shelter with nature and with other people. How many times do we consider the environment to create shelter? Have a shelter that is organic and sustainable, and is defined by its environment. Think of a bird, how privileged a bird is by creating a nest, creating its own shelter. A bird makes her shelter, and that's incredible. Can we equate the bird and creating shelter in that organic and harmonious way? And there's food. Food is another essential aspect of our life, and we can co-create food. We can garden by co-creating with nature, with the soil, with water and the sun. That noise. Is there co-creation there? We can co-create the food. We can have agriculture that resonates with nature. And we can co-create food by cooking. The joy of cooking, the joy of making our own food, the transformation, the simple things of boiling eggs, the cooking beans until they're soft and adding more flavors, the richness of spices in this planet and learning how to use them. All that is co-creating. And our jobs, no matter how simple they are, they can have elements of co-creation by resonating with other people and with other beings. When I arrived in Tokyo for the first time at the airport, I was coming off customs and I saw a man cleaning a telephone, a public telephone at that time. And he was cleaning this telephone in a way that was like cleaning a treasure, like cleaning family jewels. I'm not punning, joking, intended there. It was truly cleaning a family treasure. The effort that went into it, the concentration, the focus, the joy, the implicit joy in the act. And I saw many acts like that in that culture. Even at the very end, when I was leaving again at the airport, I remember looking out at the runway and a plane was leaving. And the ground crew, the types that push the plane off the gate and do all the work sometimes we see from the terminal. All the ground crew, when the plane was on its own going to the runway, they faced the plane and they bowed to the plane. Nobody on that plane could have seen that, but they did it because they were sending off well-wishing. The passengers, the crew, the plane. Let's be creators. Let's be creators working together and with the other beings that surround us. It has become a cliche almost that Michelangelo said that he found a sculpture in the stone. And it wasn't so much his mind creating the sculpture, but the stone already contained the sculpture he brought to life. Then another perspective is to think of us as being protectors. If we were destroyers, or if we are destroyers, the opposite of destroying is creating, but there's also another function, which is to protect, which is to keep. And that's a subtle, more subtle function, but also essential. Gardening has acts of creation, but there's a lot of keeping there too. Keeping our shelter clean and functional. Keeping other people around us safe, healthy, fed. Keeping other beings around us safe, healthy. We have a natural impetus to cut down the tree because we want the lumber or we want firewood, or in some cases just because it gets on our view, or even worse, just because we sometimes fear the tree. When I was born, shortly after, my parents planted a cedar tree that grew gigantic. It was a humongous tree in front of the house. And my father had also built the house so strong the tree never disturbed the house. The roots and the house managed to be together without either being curtailed in its structure or in its growth. When I sold the house to a friend, one of the first things they did was, that family, one of the first things they did was to cut down the tree because they were afraid of the roots or the tree falling down on the house. And that magnificent tree was then gone like that. A tree that provided shadow for the house in the summer because it was oriented perfectly for that purpose. Protectors. We can be protectors rather than destroyers. Protect, protect. And who are we protecting? Who are we co-creating with? Who are we compassionate to? Who are we generous to? That's the next recording.